Om. 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 वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेदि वेदस्य महाणि सः श्रुतं मे मा प्रासीत् अनेनाधीतेनावो रात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Aitareya Upanishad, first chapter, second khanda. Third khanda, first and second mantras. Saikshata imenu lokascha lokapalascha annam ebhya srujai iti saha apaha abhyatapat abhyah abhitaptebhya murtihi ajayata ya murtihi ajayata annam vaita. Having created all these lokapalas, etc., now and they were subjected to hunger. Being subject to hunger, automatically Parameshwara, Srashta, the creator, has to provide the food. Now, food needs to be created. So, from those Panchamahabhutas, he created a murti, means a solid, not totally solid, but solid and otherwise also, because different types of food are meant for different types of embodiment. So that is what he created, and that is what is annam. So it is the food for these all beings. Now, the question comes, how to eat the food? For us, this question may sound silly. What? Eating the food you don't know? See, a child eating the food, does it eat the food just like that? First, it needs to be fed. Slowly, it has been made to eat. And at that time, what does it do? It sees others eating and it imitates. So, a sample of eating the food is already available. Now, this is the beginning of creation. Food is created. How to eat is not known. So, few trials and errors were done. And finally, it was found how to eat the food. Now, this process is being now described. Tadena srishtam parang atyajighasat. Parang atyajighasat. So the is there. Parang atyajighasat. Tadvacha ajigrishat. Tannashaknod vacha grahitu. Sa yad enad vacha agrahishat. Abhivyahritya eva annam atripsyat. So first attempt. Now the tad ena srishtam. So this food, the food which was created by Srashta Parameshwara, it has come to know that these are going to eat. What is the plight of the food now? A rat is being chased by a cat to eat. What will the rat do? Run away for life. So like that, this food came to know that these entities are going to eat me. It doesn't want to get destroyed. Figuratively said, it started running. Now this entity who wants to eat it has to catch it, hold it first, and then eat it. So now the methods adopted one by one are given. Tad ena srishtam, that is the food that was created for the Lokapalas by Ishvara, that food having come to know that I'm going to be eaten by thee. So what did he do? Parak atyajighamsa. Atyajighamsa decided to run away. Now this verb jighamsa is a desiderative, desire to do something. It has come from the verbal root han. Han, you are familiar, hanti, etc., has got two meanings. Han has himsa, killing, we are familiar. But han verb has also got the meaning gati, motion, moving away. So therefore, here han is taken in the sense of gati, moving away, running away. So jighausati means desires to run away. So therefore, parag, that is away. Atya jighausa, it desire to run away. Having seen the Lokapalas, they wanted to catch and eat it. So they said, tad vacha ajigrishat. So, because the so-called Purusha, here Lokapalas, or people had not seen others eating earlier, so what they do, they try to catch that food by calling it by the name. Vacha. Vacha means by this, by words. By words. So what is it? Vacha. Ajigrishat. To catch it. It tried to catch it by words. What happened? Tat na ashaknot vacha grahitum. Vacha tat grahitum na ashaknot. They were unable to catch that food by just calling it by the name. Now suppose if they were successful in catching the food by calling it by its name, what would have happened? Sahayad Hainad Vacha Agraishat. So Saha, that Purusha, Lokapala, or any entity who wants it. Enad, this food, Vacha, by its name, Agrahishat. That is, if it were able to catch it by its name, do you know what would happen? Now, what would happen? How the eating would have taken place? Abhivyarutya evam eva annam atrapsya. The food, that is, we would have been contented by the food, by eating. How? Just by calling that food by its name. So, abhivyarutya eva. Eva. That is person. Yes. Annam atrapsya. The food means we would have got contented by the food just by calling its name. How nice it would have been. What else are there now? Just keep on the food. And we want to eat, open the curtain, and you just what? Call them and pay the bill and go. Or just call, you are able to eat means get nourishment. So that is, hunger would have been appeased just by taking the name of the food. If the beginning, that Lokapala entity, people, if when they are successful in catching and eating the food, catching the food means in terms of eating, by taking the name, this would have happened. That has happened? No. Fortunately or unfortunately, we don't know. We don't. So that is how it is. So the first attempt to catch the so-called running food by taking its name failed in appeasing the hunger. Let us say one by one. The next attempts, all these, one by one, they are being enumerated. The Purusha, the Lokapala, or the individual try to catch the food in terms of eating, and they were not successful. If they were successful in any one of these methods, what would have happened? That was being told. Fourth mantra. I hope you have got the text. Nowadays, there are certain websites where these Upanishads are available. You can download straight away. If possible, next time I will give you the website references. There are many such things. I don't think it is uploaded on our website, turiyaboda.com. The other one, what is that? Bhagavata Chatushloki is uploaded, but may not be this because it's a standard one. On the net, you can get this. Just you can search for it. The fourth mantra. Tat pranena ajigrikshat. Tanna shaknot pranena grahitum. Saha yad hainat pranena agrahishat. Abhipranya eva annam atrapsyat. So, tat, annam, that annam, this Purusha, what did he do? Pranena. So here prana, as in there is grana, sense of smell by nose, smelling. Ajigraksha. That means try to catch it by smelling it. Tat pranena grahitum na shakno. By prana, by smelling, grana, to catch the food, the individual or the Lokapala was unable, means the Lokapala or the individual could not catch the food in terms of eating by simply smelling. Saha means that Purusha, that is either Lokapala or any individual. Yad hainat pranena agraheshat. If indeed he was successful in catching, in terms of eating the food by smelling it, this would have happened. What would have happened? Abhipranya. Abhipranya is agraya, having smelt by smelling. Eva annam atrapsya. Simply by smelling, food would have appeased our hunger. It would have made us contented in terms of appeasing our hunger. But it has not taken place. If this were taken, what would happen? Simply smell the food, your hunger goes and you get nourished. It didn't take place. So let us see further. Tat chakshusha ajigrushat. Same trend it is. Tannashakno chakshusha grahitum. Sayad ena chakshusha agrahishat. Drishtva eva annam atrapsya. That's same as anna. This Purusha, what did he do? Chakshusha, by eyes, means by simply seeing it. Ajigrusha, to try to catch it. Just catch it. In terms of eating. Tanna ashakno chakshusha grahitum. Chakshusha tad grahitum na ashakno. The individual or Lokapala was unable to catch it by simply seeing it. If that Purusha, Lokapala or individual had succeeded by seeing, just by catching it, by just seeing, even today, by just seeing the food, our hunger could have got appeased, we would have got contented by that food, but it has not taken place. Saha, that Purusha, yadi, in case, ha enam, this food, chakshusha agrisha, if it were caught up by just seeing it by the eye, drashtva evam annam atrapsya, by simply looking at the food, that food could have made this person contented by appeasing the hunger. But that also failed. Now the turn of hearing. Tat shrotrena ajigrushat. Tad na shaknot shrotrena grahitum. Sa not her. Saha yadha Enat shrotrena agrahishat shrutva ha eva annam atrapsat. Tat, that annam, shrotrena ajigrishat, by the ears, sense of hearing, this person would try to catch it in terms of eating. Means someone is enumerating the names of the food and you are listening. You think that by listening you can be able to catch. It was not possible. And had it been true that the person had succeeded in catching, eating the food simply by hearing, what would happen? Sahayan, that Purusha, Lokapala or person, in case enat shrotrena agresha, if it were to catch it in terms of eating by simply hearing, shrutvaha evam annam atrapse, by simply hearing the name, that food would have made you contented by appeasing your hunger. Somebody said, dal rice, chapati bhaji, idli sambar, dosa, jalebi, laddu, payasam, whatever. Your hunger got appeased. It didn't happen. Then next, tattvacha ajigrishat, tanna ashakno tvacha grahitum sayad hainat tvacha agrahishat sprishtvah eva annam atrapsat. Tat, that annam, tvacha, sense of touch, skin. Ajigrishat, try to catch it by touching it. Tanna ashapno tvachagrahitum. But the person or Lokapala could not catch it by simply touching it. If Saha, that person or Lokapala, Yad, in case Yadi, Ena tvacha aggression, if it were successful in catching, eating the food by touching, simply touching, even today, what would happen? Sprashtvaha eva. Simply by touching the food, annam atrapsya. The food could have made us contented in terms of appeasing our hunger and nourishing us. But it didn't happen. Now, interesting. Tan manasa ajigrikshat. Tan nashaknot manasa grahitum. Sayad hainat manasa agrahishat. Dhyatvaha eva annam atrapsat. So that individual or Lokapala, so try to catch this food by mind. Just think of the food so that you can, thereby you can eat it. See, now when you use the word eat, where our mind goes? The process by which we are eating, not that. It is yet to come and has to be discovered to be successful. Just you think of it, your hunger goes. Nourishment comes. That would have happened. That is, catching means eating in that terms. not that catch and then put in the mouth. They are not yet discovered. So manasa ajigrisha. So that is desire to eat by simply mind, by just thinking of it by the because mind can only think. Tanna shaknot manasagrahitu. That Lokapala or the person could not succeed or unable to catch it by simply thinking of it. So yad, in case that person, Lokpala, enad manasa agresha, if it were able to eat it by simply thinking of it by mind, what would happen? Dhyatva eva annam atrapsat. Just by dhyatva, not dhyana here, thinking. Just by, what is the dispute between thinking and dhyana? Meditation. Meditation also is thinking. But in dhyana meditation, you are thinking of one single entity to the total exclusion of any dissimilar thought. But thought of anything you can think of. So here thinking of the food. So, dhyatva eva annam atas. But just by thinking the food, that food could have made this person contented by appeasing his hunger and giving the nourishment. It didn't take place. See how nice would it have been? Think of it. Paisa vaisa kuch nahi chahiye. You need to work also. You need to earn also. Because hunger is the main, one of the main thing that is in the life. So, of course, we have to eat and drink to keep the body in fit condition to accomplish some higher goal of life. But simply eating and drinking is not the goal of life. We eat to live, you know this. We eat to live, but we don't live to eat. If we live to eat, eating only the goal of life. If you eat to live, you need this body. You have to live for gaining something else which is more worthwhile. So eating becomes secondary. So that is it. But generally what happens? Khao, piyo, maja karo. That becomes the goal of life because the higher goal of life as human beings we are not aware of. So if it were successful, by simply thinking of it, what would happen? The hunger would have got appeased. Then comes tat shishnena ajigrishat. Tanna ashaknot shishnena grahitu. Sa yad hainam shishnena agrahishat. Visrujyaha eva annam atrapsyat. There were samples given that Lokapala, that individual, desired to catch in terms of eating this food by what? Shishnena, by genital organ, the organ of procreation. What happened? Tanna ashaknot shishnena grahitu. By genital, the Lokapala or individual was unable to catch it in terms of eating. What do you mean by this? By Shishnalita means by secreting. What is that? This semen or ovum. Just by that you can catch the food. No. Sayadhainat Shishnena Graisha. If that Lokapala or individual were successful in catching the food in terms of eating by the genital, by just secretion of semen or ovum, depending on male or female. So, Visrujya evam eva annam atras. Visrujya, by such secretion of semen or ovum, what would happen? That food have contented this person by appeasing the hunger. All means failed. Now comes the one which was the right type of eating. Tad apanena ajigrusha tadavayat saisha annasya graha yadvayuhu annayuhu va esha yadvayuhu. That yadvayuhu annayuhu va. That va is actually vai. By Sandhi it has become va. Vai eshaha yadvayu. So tad means that annam apanena ajigrasa. This Lokapala or the individual person desire to catch it by apana. Now, what is this apana vayu? Apana vayu here is the air that we take from the mouth inside with downward thrust. Apana is for excretion, downward thrust. So therefore, the air in our mukha chidra, the mouth, which is antargata, which goes down, means that downward thrust is there. So that by apanena ajigrasha, desire to catch it. Now what happened? Tad avayavat. Avayavat means caught it, ate it. Jagraha or ashitava. This individual, Lokapala or that person, whatever, caught the food in terms of eating the food, ate the food. That food going, the air going inside with the downward thrust, pushed the food in the stomach. Say, this is actually, what is it? Receiving the food or eating the food. This is how we eat the food. Saha esha. This apanavayu, which could catch the food and thrust it below. Annasya graha is a graha. Graha means grahaka, not purchaser. Okay. Grahaka also means receiver, here in terms of eater. This is the one, this apanavayu, which goes in the mouth with a downward thrust. That is the one who receives the food, or it makes us eat the food. And it is now described. Yadvayuhu. This apanavayu. Yadvayuhu. Yadvayuhu. Annayuhu. Vai yad eshaha vayuhu. Take the anvaya that way. Yadvayuhu. Annayuhu. Vai yad eshaha vayu. Yad vayu. So what is this vayu? What is that? Namely, apana vayu. And we have seen how it functions. It is called as what? Annayuhu. Annayuhu means anna nibandhanaha. Dependent on food. In the sense, anna jivana. It is this apana vayu gives us life through food. Means with the help of food, this apana vayu gives us life. So annayuhu. Why? What is that why? Well known. We know how we eat, how it goes inside. So that is what apana vayu job. So this apana vayu, it gives us the life through the means of food. Annayuhu, that anna bandhanaha, dependent on anna jivanaha, that gives life through vai prasiddhi. So therefore, yad esha vayu. Who is it? This famous, who is that? Vayu, apana vayu. So through apana vayu, we are able to eat the food, thereby we get the life. That means we are able to live on account of that. If that were not so, we can't eat the food. No food means what? The body has to drop away as early as possible. Perfect. Everything is done. Lokas were created for jivas to get the bhoga, joys and sorrows in accordance with the karma phalas. Loka means loka palas are required. Guardians were received. Then, of course, the individuals, for them, the food and the mode of eating the food was also accomplished. Now, after creating this mercy, remember one thing? Don't think this is a cock and bull story and get carried away by the process. Remember one thing, what is that? Atma vai idam agrahasi. Idam, the jagat, agre, srishte prak, atma eva asi. was nothing but Atma only. Nanyat Kinchana Mission. There was nothing else whatsoever moving or non-moving. What is that? Inert entities or anything living being, they were not there at all. Atma alone was there. And I know what is Atma? The Chaitanya Tattva. Sarvyapi Chaitanya Tattva. Now, Srishti. Because jivas are demanding. So from where it has to come? From Atma only. Nothing else was there. But Atma, from Atma, nothing can be born. Because to be born, Kriya is required. Karma, action is required. Atma is avikriya. And yet, Srishti appears to be there. Means, in Atma, Srishti which can never come into existence appears to be there. Means, Srishti appears to be the feature of Atma, truly not being so. This is what is called as what? Adhyasa. After describing it completely, then how to eliminate it will be shown by apavada, negation of it. Only to arrive what I am in reality. That Atma Chaitanya called as Prajnanam. And what is the Prajnanam is ascertained by its different appearances. And when it is cut to its size from different appearances, what remains is that pure Prajnanam, that is Atma, I, that itself is Brahma. This is what is established. I told you in the beginning, method adopted here is Adhyaropa Apavada. Adhyaropa Apavada. So, superimposing the creation where it is not and negating it afterwards to arrive at what I am in reality. Actually speaking, if the question comes, who am I? Answer to this, correct answer to this is what? I am I. And what that I? Chaitanya Swarupa. If you add anything to it, even a little fault, it is something not I. So therefore, this mistaken Jagat and resultant individual entity called Jiva, how it comes into existence and how it can negate it to claim our Swarupa free from this and thereby free from samsara and discover limitless Ananda Swarupa. Limitless Ananda Swarupa. That is the principle. So we are in the process of the Aropa, Adhyaropa, superimposition of Jagat and Jiva on Atma, where it was not at all there. So up to this stage we have come. Now the question is, this Paramatma, thought again, reconsidered what has been done so far. And there he found still something is missing. And he makes good what is lacking. What is that missing? Which has been presented in a dramatic way. We'll see what is the dramatic way as well. Saikshata katham no idam madhrite syaditi. Saikshata katarena prapadya iti. Saikshata yadi vacha abhivyahritam. Yadi pranena abhipranitam. Yadi chakshusha drishtam. Yadi श्रोत्रेण श्रुतम यदि त्वचा स्पृष्टम यदि मनसा ध्यातम यदि अपानेन अभ्यपानितम यदि शिश्नेन विसृष्टम अथ को कहा अहमिति को हमिति अथ कहा. So there is a point that is driven home here. In short, it means I have created all this. Indriyas, Devatas in terms of Lokapalas, guardians, their sthana, etc. Keep in mind, all of them are inert in nature. Inert nature. Again, it is an assembly, sanghata, assemblage of many. Assemblage of many. And when there is an assembly of many things, the general rule is it is meant for the purpose of some entity distinct from that assembly, sanghata. For example, a motor car, vehicle, made of many things, metal, rubber, resin, petrol, electric, battery, everything. For whom? Not for the sake of car. The car owner. It is meant for the owner of the car. So like that. If this embodiment comprising of many factors is made, necessarily it has to be for the sake of the one who is distinct from them and yet owns it. Who is that entity? To begin with, it has to be a sachetana entity, a sentient entity, because nothing that is inert, jada in nature, can function on its own. So it needs a sentient principle, a sachetana tattva. It needs chaitanya. And it's just like this. If These were what those speech, etc., these faculties were able to function on their own. What is my role? Koham. That is, who am I? Who am I? In the sense, see, let us say a kingdom. Now, in the kingdom, there are many authorities, etc., executives, etc. There is a king. So, the king is the one who supervises, etc. And by his presence, the kingdom is run. If the administration of the kingdom runs without the king, what is the role of the king? Actually, it is not possible. Likewise, if these faculties like talking, seeing, touching, thinking were able to take place on their own, what is my role with Chaitanya Swarupa Atma, who as the creator has created all this? In the sense, without me, the sentient entity, the sentient entity, these inert faculties and entities cannot function. Literally, the question appears, who am I? As if, I'll be jobless if they function on their own. Not that way. He knows its role. Means, without me, such an entity, these inert entities cannot function. So, I have to make myself available in them so that they can function. That is the purport of it, for which a long list is given. Saikshata. That Parameshwara is the Srashta, the creator. Ikshata, thought, consider. What is it? Nu, Vitarka, consideration. Is this way, that way. Idam madhrute katham syat. Idam Vishwam, the Jagat, all these are created. Loka, Lokapalas, Indriyas, Sthanas, Ashana Pipasa, hunger, thirst, Annam, and also the method of eating. And you may ask one question. If they were inert, how did they try all those methods of eating and how finally succeeded in Apanavayu? Don't take that chronological order. These efforts are told after that sentience, not when they're inert. But Shruti doesn't follow that order here. We should know one thing. The purpose of Shruti is never to give a theory of creation. But the mind of the mukshu cannot proceed further without knowing this. And therefore, to make it take to further inquiry, a seeming phenomenon or a seeming possibility is given. That is why in different Upanishads, the so-called theories of creation differ. They are never one and the same, because these theories of creation are given as the means to know our Swarupa, and not to prove that truly there is something called Jagat. And that being the case, any prakriya which is capable of making us discover Swarupa is the right one. And yet, that prakriya, by its inherent nature, is defective. यया यया भवेत् पुंसां व्युत्पत्ति प्रत्यगात्मनि सा सैव प्रक्रिया स्यात् साध्वी सा च अनवस्थिता. सुरेश्वराचार्य says in Brihadaranyaka Vartika, by whatever prakriya, by whatever methodology of presenting the creation, if one is able to gain the Atma Jnana, Brahma Jnana by use of it, that prakriya method is what? Sadhvi, best, good one, valid one. But if you probe into that prakriya, sacha anavasyata, it cannot stand scrutiny. It has got many defects. So we go with the utility, usefulness of these prakriyas, and don't bother about the correctness so long as it works. Works in the sense, so long as it is capable of giving us the knowledge of our true Swarup. So now, therefore, I say, he considered. What did he consider? Idam. That means this, what is it? Karya Karana Sanghat. This assemblage, body, indriyas, etc. The presiding deities, Lokapalas, the Jagat, Drishya Jagat, this Vishwa. Madhrute Katham Syat. Katham Syat. How can it exist? Madhrute, Madvina, without me. Without me, the sentient being, the Chaitanya Tattva. How can this assemblage of body, etc., all devatas, etc., can ever exist? Means certainly not. So this is further explained in terms of each and every functions of indriyas, etc. If they were to take place without me, so then what will happen? There will be something going on without the basic thing that is required for that function. We'll see in detail the further portion. Oh.
स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ